it's Lisa. Thanks for joining me for the second part for my very first completed art journal. This particular spread, I did the background one Saturday night, painted the yellow, went over with a 4-inch jelly plate to put some sort of tone-on-tone circles and a little bit of blue here. And the next morning it just did not speak to me. I just couldn't think of what I wanted to put on it. It just didn't work. I liked it. I still thought it looked good. I just couldn't quite figure out what to do with it. What was on my mind that morning was some upcoming tests that my father was having, and we were not expecting good results. So what came out when I flipped the page and did something different is this very graffiti type of background that was expressing what I was thinking that morning, which was all about fear. Now I'll go ahead and skip forward to the good news. His test results were not nearly as bad as we thought. He did have an issue, but it's not the really bad stuff we thought it was going to be. So it all worked out. However, that particular day, what was on my mind was really coming out on this page with all of this red. I did some misting over some stencils for the background, just a few light colors, and then I cut out the letters just out of regular paper, just with, just regular scissors, roughly cut them out, and tacked them on here, and then put a lot more red ink over it. Misted a lot more stuff on there, some little droplets, the whole bit, and then I pulled this paper off and added some shading, and I guess I did the droplets after I did that, and then I put a few words on there and some stamping with the middle of the tape dispenser. So dip that in paint. So that's how I got this kind of graffiti style page, and I do like the style of page. I'd like to do another one, maybe with not such a difficult subject. Now back to this one, when I did go back to finish it, I added some wording here with some stickers and things, but the main part are these birds that are stamped with a Martha Stewart stamp on book paper, and then I pasted them on here and did some coloring with them. So I was really pleased with this one when it was finished. Put some paint on the background here, did some things to kind of make it look like rain, including some gel, and I'll show you that on another page coming up at some point, and a little bit of lettering. I'm not that fond of my hand lettering, but it gets the job done. So it was just, a light little fun page about getting out our walk-in despite the fact that it was raining. Here I had a quote that I really wanted to say. Don't just be good to others, be good to yourself too. This is from Pinterest, and I felt like I just really needed to say that to myself. Drew some flowers on, and then I used modeling paste to add this border around the outside. And the background is a little bit of watercolor. As I've said many times, I like working with the jelly plate. I wanted to see, though, if I could use my 8x10 jelly plate with this book, because the book these are 7 3/4 by 9 3/4, so it's the perfect size. So I've been, all my other jelly plates, I've been, taking the small ones and pressing them down on the papers, but this one, I inked up my jelly plate, and I took my book and I put it over top of the jelly plate and pressed on it and got my design that way, and it did work. And now I had to kind of fill in this middle a little bit here in the middle of the book with some ink, but I did get a really nice background. And then I added some washi tape, journaling. This is the Texture Luxe from Faber-Castell with a little bit of color added to it. And then I stenciled on some stars. Zentangle is something that I had tried a little bit of experimenting. In fact, there's one of the pages back that was in the first video, had some butterflies. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, that was my very poor effort at trying to Zentangle without looking up any instructions. But I took a class, and I've not written the lady's name in here, and I'll put it on the screen. I can't remember her name. But she did an online class. It was a little free thing, and it was really good. And I just loved listening to her and watching her. It was very relaxing, and I used some of her techniques, and I was actually able to Zentangle. And she offers a class if you're interested in doing that. For me, it's kind kind of hard on the hands because repetitive things are really difficult on my wrists and hands, and I used to crochet and all, and I can't do that anymore because that repetitive motion really bothers me. That's one of the reasons I like scrapbooking and art journaling. I can do a lot of different things and I'm not doing the same thing. But I did manage to do these, and actually my hands stopped bothering me partway through. So I'd like to maybe do a little bit more Zentangle, but I did actually manage to do a neutral page too, because I always have trouble doing those. But these art journals are a great place for playing with Zentangle if you're interested in that art form. This isn't one of those pages where if you don't like something, cover it up. You don't really see so much what I covered up, you know, because I've got it covered all except a little bit of touch here. What I started with was some 3x5 jelly plate pressed down directly on the paper, and then I covered those and did some misting around the edge, and when I took the covers off, it didn't work. A lot of it was the color combination I had chosen. It just wasn't a good color combination. I just didn't like it. So what I did was I took a jelly print that I had done before I bought this book and that I'd always loved, and cut it into pieces, blacked the edge with some ink or paint, I think it was, went around the edge and pasted those on over top of the part I didn't like, because I did like the outside where I had stenciled using some round doily kinds of stencils. I added some stickers from the basic gray, and I still need to put a phrase here, and I never have done that. I'll try to add something in there, but this is a way to use some of your stickers up too if you want to. You can put all kinds of things in your art journal. And with those in mind, I thought, you know, I haven't done much with collage, so I went through what few magazines I have. I've gotten rid of most of my magazines, and I don't subscribe to anything anymore. Found a few things that caught my eye, and put those in, and started writing on here. And this has gotten me back to Pinterest a little bit more. I put things on Pinterest related to arts and crafts kinds of stuff, but I don't, and maybe recipes, but I don't tend to use it for home decor items and stuff, and I've been kind of getting back into that. So sometimes the art journal gets me motivated towards something that I've been wanting to do anyway. This page has a sad story behind it. We lost someone in our family. We've had 4 family funerals in less than a year, and the last one was a young man who was only 28 years old. And it's still very difficult, but I wanted to do a pretty page to capture his soul. And I'm not thrilled with my flowers, but I love these. I picked colors in the background that I love, and just wanted, and I picked out papers in specific. He had a physics degree, a real technological background, so I used some things in the background that I thought would work with that it's actually from an architectural book, but still, I picked music that I thought would work, and it was just something that was a way for me to deal with what went on at that time. But this is all Mod Podged on, and I have used some stencils, one of my favorite stencils, and then the die cuts are from the Silhouette. What's wrong with them, though, in my opinion, is there were multiple layers, and I didn't take the time to do all the layers, and I think it would have been a lot prettier if I had. Now, one of my very favorite pages in the entire book is this one. I did not start with a plan here. I just took my stencil, the Peacock Doily stencil, my favorite stencil, the one I had used here as well, put it down, did a bunch of misting over it, let that dry, and then I put it back and I outlined with a black Faber-Castell marker all the way around all of this, and then started adding some more stenciling and put some words on here and shading, and it wasn't a difficult spread to do, and it was certainly one of my favorites. Another one I really love is this, with some of my favorite colors in the background. I did the hearts separately, and we'll do a page similar to this when I get to doing some individual videos on how I did this kind of look and the stamping and stuff, and use some bubble wrap around the edges. So definitely a fun page. That particular day, I woke up happy today with my heart filled with hope and possibility, and that's just how I felt the day I did that page. Now you can see how all that stuff was sticking. This is gel medium mixed with Perfect Pearls, which I love. I think it's beautiful. There's also some ink mixed in. If I do this again though, I wouldn't do it on both sides of the page. I might just do one side, because every time I close the book up and it's closed for a little while, those stick together. They always come apart, but they just, you know, make that creaky, sticky sound. But I was experimenting with a gray background, a neutral background, because as I said earlier, I'm using Pinterest to pin some more home decor stuff, and I wanted to see, you know, gray background with some pops of color. What does that look like? And so that was what I was playing with here. And it actually, when I first put that gray on there, I was not thrilled. I did modeling or gesso down first, added the gray, and then used baby wipe to pull a bunch of it up before I put the other colors on there. It came out a whole lot better than I thought it was going to. Now I guess I cheated a little bit when I said my book was complete. I did plan to add some words here, and I haven't gotten those done. I am going to do an actual bit of journaling, but the rest of the page is complete. The background is distress paints and water, and this is one of those where I put the paint down and then I turn the journal over and let it absorb them. That's a little bit riskier. You do have to be a little bit more careful to make sure you don't get paint everywhere, but it worked. And then I added some other layers with stenciling, and the black is on the 3x5 jelly plate, and just a fun, again, kind of a graffiti style page. This was a page, I guess there's something about pinks that just don't work for me. I did the background and I wasn't real thrilled with it. It took me a while to get this going. The reason I did pink is I hadn't done pink in a long time in the book, you know, and so I felt like I needed to, or I should do it. And that's kind of what I wrote about in my journaling, is when you start doing stuff because you feel like you should do it, then you're probably going to have some issues with it. And that's where I had with this. But I did get to put in a great quote. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over the other, from William James. Pinterest is a wonderful source of quotes. Another of my favorite pages for the book. This is very simple to do. Spray on mists. Spray some water on them and let them drip down. Now you do have to watch for bleed through, and we'll talk about that when we do a page like this. And I did some additional water droplets and color droplets and stuff to get a little bit more color over here. But these drip lines give you a place to put your journaling. And so I really enjoyed this page. And it wasn't difficult or time consuming to do. And I wanted to talk about time, and that's why I made my own little clock. One more that didn't get journaled, where I'm supposed to be right now, instead of doing this video, is at the beach. And we started to the beach this morning, and my intention was as soon as I got back from the beach, I would write about walking along the beach in the moonlight. But we are not at the beach because my husband got sick, and we only got like a half an hour from home before we had to turn around and come back. So fortunately, we didn't get all the way down there. He's doing fine. I've got him to the doctor and got him on some medicine to treat. He was just coming down with something, and we needed to get that taken care of before we went. And fortunately, I didn't have reservations. So, and I always make reservations, but this year with so much going on and so many things happening, I just felt like I'd be taking a chance at making reservations. So all I have to do is unpack a van full of stuff, but I didn't get to have my moonlight walks on the beach, but we will at some point, and I'll come back in here and write those in. Blue background, the base is stamped and embossed with white embossing powder, and then some modeling paste and some texture paste for the rest of my waves in the ocean. And then this is silver stenciled on. And then the very last page is just some jelly plates, and then I did one in neutral color here so I could journal in about doing my next, or how much I'm looking forward to doing my next art journal. And I didn't show you the very first page either. It was a real simple one where I did some stenciling and used some stickers and stuff on there. So thank you very much for joining me for my first complete art journal. I hope that you will check out the first half of the video if you haven't already seen that. And again, I hope to do some videos where we do some art journaling together with, you know, saying different things, different colors, but still using some of the techniques that I have used here. And I hope to learn a lot more things too, because it has just really been a lot of fun and I am becoming addicted to art journaling. That doesn't mean I'll stop scrapbooking, definitely not. So stay tuned to my channel. Thank you so much.